Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today we are reading Booktubes' favorite book. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rachel, how do you know this is Booktubes' favorite book? What qualifies you to make that distinction? And here's the answer. Absolutely nothing. I don't actually know that this is Booktubes' favorite book, but I have been on Booktube for a very long time as a silent observer, and I've only ever seen this book get rave reviews along Booktube, BookTok, Bookstagram. Everyone loves this book. I've never seen a negative review about it. So to make this kind of fun, I thought I would give you guys a few clues so maybe you could like guess it before I show you what it is. So clue number one, this book has a 4.4 rating on Goodreads with nearly 805,000 reviews. And that's at the time of this filming, so it's probably only going to go up from there. So 4.4 out of 805,000 reviews. Clue two, this book is 10 years old. Not a new release. Clue three, this is this author's debut novel. So from what I can tell, don't take me for gospel here, but as far as I can tell from all my research, this author has only ever written some short stories and novellas. And then since the publishing of this, her first book, she has written one more, again, that I can tell. Yeah, I just double checked on Goodreads. As far as I can tell, this author has written two like short stories. This was her debut novel, and then she's written one since then. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna give you a few seconds. Think about it. Any guesses? What would you guys think? I'll sip my coffee while you think. I'm trying to avoid coffee staining my teeth, so that's the reason for the ridiculous straw. All right, guys, are you ready for it? Drum roll. The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I have never seen a negative review about this book. It has been on my to-read forever because, again, it is 10 years old, and I decided it's finally time. I'm gonna dive into this one. I do traditionally love Greek mythology, so I am really excited for the subject matter of this book. In fact, several years ago, I really wanted to learn more about Greek mythology, and instead of looking up like a well-written nonfiction reference book about Greek mythology, I actually read The Idiot's Guide to Greek Mythology cover to cover. Yeah, it's about 600 pages all the way through, touching on all sorts of different mythology, majority Greek, but yeah, that was how I used to get my nonfiction in. I have a bunch of those like Idiot's Guide or Dummy's Guide to certain topics. So anyway, I am so excited to finally read this. And like I said, I don't know that this is actually Booktubes' favorite book, but I have never seen a negative review about this book. So I'm super pumped to finally check it out, to dive in. I've got it in paperback copy. If you watched my Q&A video, you know I love a big floppy paperback. Exactly what this is. And I also have it on audio, so hopefully I will be able to rip through this and give you guys an honest opinion at the end of this video. By the way, put where your guesses were down below. I'd love to know what you guys thought, because maybe I'll do this again with some of the other like Booktube favorites. Anyway, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm gonna try to get out, sit in the sun, enjoy my day, and I will check back with you guys in a little bit once we've started. Wish me luck. Just realized I never took off my bracelets from last night. My husband and I went to a concert, and I totally meant to take these off before I started filming this, and I did not, so looking good. Hey guys, we are back with a quick check-in for my progress on The Song of Achilles. So I've been reading it for a bit. I am on page right about 170, which I think is just about halfway. I have been reading and listening to this, and these are my current thoughts. First of all, I love the way it's written. I love the dialogue in old Greek stories like this. Beautifully written, lovely dialogue, really phenomenal storytelling. Two, I love the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus, but it's okay. It's a great story. I'm enjoying the story itself. I do think that reading and listening to it both is detracting from the story a bit for me. It takes me out of it a little bit when I'm listening to it. So I think what I've decided to do is I'm going to back up a bit and move forward reading it instead of listening to it. I really want to be immersed in the story. I really want to feel the full impact and weight of what this story has to tell, because I really do think it is beautifully written, and I'm so sold on their relationship, and I love the story in general, and I want to be immersed in it. And I think the only way I can do that is by reading this and not listening to it. So like I said, I think I'm gonna back up just a few chapters. I listened to the last 3 or 4 chapters. I think I'm midway through chapter 15. So I'm gonna back up, I'm gonna pick it up and really immerse myself in it to try to get all of the feels and really get my teeth into the emotion of what this story is about, because I do really want to love it. I don't want this to be another lackluster recommendation that ends up just being an average 3 for me. I want to love this, and all signs are pointing to I'm going to, but I think I just have to get myself in the right mindset and in the right setting to really be successful. So that is my next steps for this book. I will check in with you guys when I have a little bit more to report to see if my tactic worked and if I am fully immersed in the story going forward. And yes, I am aware about the stain on my shirt. I have a toddler. If you know, you know. All right, guys, I have a not so update. I did what I wanted to do in the last clip, which was go back a little bit in the physical copy of The Song of Achilles. I went back about 50 pages and zipped right back through it, and that was definitely the right call. And I wanted to say too that it's not that the audiobook is bad. Actually, the audiobook is awesome. The narrator is super great. It's an awesome audiobook. I think just sometimes audiobooks take me out of the emotion of a book. They're great for me to listen to for memoirs. They're great for me to listen to for like thrillers, but for books that are a little bit more emotional, a little bit heavier, I'm the type of person that really needs to sit down with a physical copy and really like immerse myself in it. I cannot multitask when it comes to listening to a book like this. But yeah, just a silly update that it is working. I am hoping to get through this in the next little bit here and hopefully give you guys my overall thoughts. All right, back to it. All right, guys, we have finished The Song of Achilles. What did I think of it? I won't keep you guys in any suspense. I absolutely loved it. This book is worth every 5-star review that it has. It is absolutely beautiful. Almost everything about this book is perfection. I loved it from beginning to end. I loved the story. I loved the writing style. I loved the fictitious liberties that this author took in telling the story of Achilles and Patroclus. My only criticism of this book overall is that sometimes the pacing, in my opinion, was a little bit off, but it was interesting because I went and read some reviews on Goodreads, and some people had the same complaint about the pacing, but they thought that the pacing was better or worse in different areas. So in my opinion, the pacing in like the middle, the late beginning to middle was a little off, and the end was perfection. And I actually saw a bunch of reviews that thought that the beginning pacing was perfect and that the end was a little bit boring. Either way, I think most people agree that this book is just chef's kiss, so great, so beautiful. And I did go back on Goodreads and see how many reviews this book has now. I think at the beginning of this video I said it had 805,000. It now has 830,000. So just in the little bit of time it took me to read this, film this video, get through this, it's gained 25,000 more reviews, which is just super interesting for a book that is as old as this one to still be gaining traction at that level. I think it just proves really how beloved this book is in the bookish community. If you have been living under a rock and have not read this book yet, like I hadn't, I do have a few tips. One, I would consider creating a character map. There are a lot of characters. Obviously, none of our names are normal per se, but I did find it difficult sometimes to follow certain characters' storylines, especially the countries that they're from and things like that. I'm sure it's in every version and every copy of this book, but the author does have a character glossary at the end, and also this really cool section where she shows like illustrations of all of the major players. So that I did not notice that was in here until I was closer to the end of the book, so it wasn't a ton of help to me in the beginning when I was kind of getting people confused. So yeah, I would consider drawing a character map. Second tip, do not look into the story at all before you go into it. I made the grave error of looking up the movie Troy and kind of reading about it, and a few little things were spoiled for me because I was not terribly familiar with the story of Achilles and Patroclus. So do not look into this at all because you will likely be spoiled by the story as a whole. Third tip, do not read the end of this book or the last 30 to 40 pages while you are getting ready to go out on a date night with your husband, because if you are me, you will have to wash your face and redo everything, because the last 30, 40 pages of this book are absolutely the most heartbreaking, devastating, gut-wrenching bit of storytelling that I have read in a little bit. And obviously those are the 30 pages that I immediately want to go back and reread just to get that feeling again. I talked about it in my last recommendations video, the feeling that you get in an emotional story when your heart hurts. This has that. Overall, absolutely a 5-star book for me. I loved this. It is a book I will be thinking about for a long time, and likely something that I will pick up again in the near future just to do a quick reread. It's really that good. And it's actually pushing me to pick up her other book, Circe, which I have had for a while now too and haven't picked up. So now I immediately want to go pick up Circe and check out what that one is all about. I am even less familiar with that story, which is kind of exciting because I'll go into it really blind. But yeah, that's it. I came, I saw, I conquered. I loved it. I would 1000% recommend it to just about anybody that loves good storytelling, especially somebody that loves Greek mythology, and frankly, just anybody. Just If you haven't yet, go pick up this book. It is so beautiful. It is phenomenal. 10 out of 10 would recommend. All right, guys, that is it. We read Booktube's favorite book. Please leave me comments down below with some other recommendations, not necessarily stories like this, but maybe other books that you consider Booktube's favorite book. I know that we all have them. We see them everywhere. I made a video about books that people love that I didn't like, so there have been a few Booktube favorites that I haven't loved. Yeah, leave me some recommendations down below. I'd love to do this again and check out some of the books that have a phenomenal reputation and see what I think. Throw my hat in the ring, if you will. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I look forward to talking to you guys again really, really soon. Bye.